We were 40 minutes behind, it's now 2, but it's game over. Roma isn't stopping though, the Catalan continues to push towards Valparaiso. If anyone thinks there are team orders, then they can look at the times. Terranova is not giving up the chase for a podium as his closest opponents falter. Nasser Al-Attiyah ran into trouble, literally, the Mini coming second best in a rock fight. And De Villiers is so close to breaking the Mini podium deadlock, but the South African is simply tired of changing tyres.
In the sand they were just too quick for me, I couldn't keep up with them, but I've never had so many punctures before on the Dakar.
Third place is up for grabs as the cars race to La Serena. Yesterday, after the special, all eyes were on the Mini bivouac, especially after team orders were given out by boss Sven Quote, dictating that Nani Roma would be the chosen one, a decision that the Dakar director did not approve of. Of course I'm disappointed. As organisers, the most important thing is sporting uncertainty until the last day. Stefan and Nani are guys who like to battle in a fair way. They're great drivers. In the past they competed in other big teams like Mitsubishi where there'd never been team orders. Never. Never. I'm disappointed for the drivers. The risks they took these last few days haven't been rewarded. The gap overall between Roma and Petter Hansel at the start, 5 minutes 32. For Petter, a lot can still happen.
He
could be worried because if he has a technical problem or is stuck in the dunes, I won't stop for him. A million miles away from the Mini concerns, Adam Mawish is enjoying a fine Dakar. For his third appearance, the former ski jumper is currently 13th overall. For the second consecutive day, Lucio Alvarez finished the stage in an excellent 8th spot. The Dakar apprenticeship continues, and it seems to be paying off for the Ford Ranger. It was a good day for Giniel De Villiers. The South African made the best of his Hilux to take the 4th fastest time, and by doing so, he retook 4th place overall. It was Orlando Terranova that struggled on this 12th special. The winner of yesterday's stage lost close to half an hour. He now has 157 kilometres left to try to close the 6-minute gap on De Villiers. A different special, same story for Al-Attiyah. Fastest at all the checkpoints, the Qatari in his Mini finally had to settle for 2nd spot on the day after a navigational error in the last few dunes of the course. He, however, controls 3rd spot overall. So to the battle for top spot. And would there actually be a battle? Taking off 2 positions in front of Stefan Petter Hansel, Nani Roma did not have the advantage today. He was yet to know that behind him, his rival was storming. After suffering a puncture, Roma was caught and passed by Nasser Al-Attiyah, and Petter was slowly gaining ground. It was then Petter Hansel's turn to show up and overtake his rival. Team orders? What team orders? Both men remained together, Petter opening the way. That of course meant that added to the stage win, he gained 6 minutes on the race leader and became the new overall leader. A splendid battle in the true Dakar spirit. I wasn't allowed to attack him, but Nani suffered a puncture. He lost 9 minutes in 200 Ks on Nasser Al-Attiyah, which is huge, and 6 on me. At the moment, I even U-turned to ask Nani if he wanted to lead and open the way, but he didn't want to. I drove calmly all the way to the finish, and here we're in an ambiguous situation. We'll see. Maybe the team orders will be changed, but we'll listen to them. Yesterday no one believed that there were no team orders. Today you saw that. Tomorrow we'll see what happens. For the moment we're here, we've managed a great race, we're second, and we'll see what happens. So Peter Hansel took it by 3 minutes 38 from Alatir, Roma 5.58 back. De Villiers in 4th, 10.48, and Christoph Holowitz rounds out our top 5 today, 18 minutes behind. In the overall now, it is Peter Hansel by 26 seconds over Nani Roma. That will go to the wire. Alatir in 3rd, 54 minutes back. Coming next in the trucks, De Roy isn't giving in as he fights back against the multitude of Komats. David Castera, the Dakar race director, is one of the busiest men in the bivouac, no matter what, having to stay on top of the race.
Today's stage will start in 1.5 hours, so we'll have just landed. The goal is to be in the race direction truck at the start of the race.
For the Dakar race director, days are long, nights don't really exist. 90 minutes later as planned, David Castera is on duty.
Competitors are starting to lose themselves at kilometre 87. They're struggling. We anticipate the race by moving our resources. We try to organise our helicopters for them to be in a 50-kilometre range around the competitors, and so on, to be able to be on site in between 15 and 25 minutes.
With one eye on the day going on, the other is on the day to come. David Castera also supervises any modifications to the roadbook.
Between the recce and the race, many things happen because we did do the roadbook 3 or 4 months ago. Some ruts are deeper, so here we have to make a change on the roadbook. There was only one exclamation mark, now there are 2.
Any changes are then announced at the riders' briefing.
It's an important moment because it sets the tone of tomorrow's stage. We explain to competitors what will happen.
Briefing, s'il vous plaît. La première moto sortira à 6h10 du bivouac demain.
During the briefing, competitors are always told of any recent major changes to the roadbook, to weather conditions and anything else that occurs, to allow them to race under optimal conditions. There were 8 crews invited to the start of the race in Rosario, the runners and riders that won the Dakar Challenge. Amongst them was Thomas Rundle, who won the African leg by finishing 6th at the Kalahari Botswana 1000. The South African admits that the Dakar is a real step up.
The Dakar is almost 2 full years worth of racing back in South Africa, so that's the major difference. It's just really the time in the car that's the difference.
The South African driver was 26th overall this morning, leaving El Salvador with more than 16 hours gap to Nani Roma. Shane Diener finished 3rd at the Australasian Safari, and he too gained a free pass for the 2014 Dakar. The Aussie is 39th overall and has a bit of advice for future competitors.
To get this far and experience some of these massive journeys is starting to feel really good. So get your body fit, but also be psychologically ready for the event.
5 of the 8 winners are still in the race. Matthew Campbell drives one of the 2 cars in the rally that has 3 crew members. The 63-year-old Canadian is making his first attempt at the Dakar, sharing the wheel with Luis Ramirez, a 7-time Mexican off-road champion. They're 52nd overall and 2nd in the open score category. Russian adult star Anna Polina paid a visit to Hugo Payen's tent in the bivouac in El Salvador. The French rider is 31st in the bikes classification, but his stand was by far the most popular yesterday. The actress was getting into the spirit of things as she washed his assistant's car. And surely Payen will be rushing back to the bivouac tonight in La Serena to get his bike washed. Stage 12 was a final real test for the truck drivers of the Dakar. 10th on yesterday's special, Hugo Kuipers, who switched from an Iveco to a MAN for this edition of the race, is currently 8th overall, which would be his best ever performance. It's been a fine Dakar for Teruhito Sugawara, son of legendary Yoshimasa. The Japanese trucker is currently 12th overall and leads the under 10 litre truck class. Winner of his first stage on his very first Dakar, Dmitry Sotnikov is learning fast. 5th today, he's just one step away from the podium. Another part of the new generation of Kamaz drivers is Anton Shibalov. He's also been impressive. The 30-year-old finished 4th on the day's special. He's 5th overall. It started perfectly for Ales Lopez, right in the fight for a second stage success. But after the halfway mark, the Czech was seen stranded in the dunes. 4th overall this morning, he was still expected at the finish. He's been one of the real and very good surprises of this Dakar. Serhej Vyazovic in his Maz truck finished 6th today. He's on the verge of entering the top 10 for his second Dakar. His hopes of back-to-back victories on the Dakar may have faded away a long time ago, but Eduard Nikolaev will have to settle for 3rd spot on this edition of the race. It was a good day for Gerard de Roy. He caught and overtook Eduard Nikolaev, but despite that, and claiming his 3rd stage win of this Dakar, his 27th ever, he couldn't do much against his most recent enemy, Andrei Karganov. Indeed, Karganov remained fully focused on his task. Taking off in 1st position, he knew he would probably lose some time on his main rival, yet when he reached the finish, that was only 31 seconds of loss. With a 7-minute lead over de Roy, the Russian is on his way to a first triumph that would also be the 12th of the Kamaz.
My dream would be to win it again. I would love to win the race again. You know, you get such a kick out of winning the race that there's nothing more satisfying than doing that.
It's just 2 things: safety and winning. Everything else, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't matter.
To be able to once again do a Dakar that would take off from Paris and that would go to Dakar one day. It would mean that the situation in Africa is much more stable and normal. That would allow us to return to Africa, which would also be something good.
Winning is the dream, that's what we work hard for, that's what motivates us every day.
To find ideas each year, to do other things, you have to dream about new things, you have to be audacious, you have to surprise and surprise yourself.
I have the dream of winning the Dakar. I don't know if it will be possible, but I'm working hard for that. Who knows what will happen.
To simply return to the Dakar one day as a simple privateer on a bike. Just do the Dakar. Take the time to enjoy every kilometre without the pressure of the stopwatch. Maybe that's the dream, to do a Dakar without the pressure of the stopwatch. On tomorrow's 26-minute Dakar, it's the home stretch to Valparaiso. But will Bereda be able to even get to the end of the race? And in the cars, will the Minis stick to formation on the final leg, or will we have the closest finish in Dakar history? All that's to come on tomorrow's 26-minute Dakar.